Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Gina, and in this video I have some plant chores to do. I have plant chores to do for my plant shop. So if you don't know, I run an online plant shop called The Pink Trellis, and I sell propagations from many of the plants you see here in my collection every week. And this particular video, plant chores, is going to be entirely about Hoya Linearis, and that is by request. And it just so happened to work out perfectly because I need to do more propagating of Linearis for my shop. So that's the plan for this video. So I'll show you guys exactly how I propagate the Hoya Linearis. And in addition, I was asked if I could just go over some care tips and like pest treatments for this plant. So we're going to do that while we are propagating the plant. And yeah, so I have two Hoya Linearis plants in my collection, and I have them both here with me currently. So this one back here, this one lives in this room like permanently. This is where it hangs out. Literally, this is where it hangs out. And then this is my second plant, which this one is a propagation from that one. And by the way, this plant, the mother plant, we'll call it the mother plant, even though they are pretty close in size now, the mother plant is still, pretty sure it is still in the original pot it came in from where I got it. And I think I got it on Etsy. But it's a local, it's called Gully's Greenhouse. I'm pretty sure I got it from them, but they're only like 40 minutes away from me, but I ordered it online through Etsy. And yeah, it's still in the original pot. I haven't repotted it. I probably should repot it. So at any rate, I have the two plants, and this one, the propagation from that one, this one lives in my bedroom. And this is the one we're going to be cutting from. And the reason for that is because, and I've told you guys this before, this plant here does bloom for me. It has bloomed for me. And I prefer to chop, this one hasn't yet, so I prefer to chop from this one so I'm not removing any of those peduncles. Okay, so to get started, I have my potting mat here. I have my soil bin here. It's a freshly made up soil. I go with my base is always the Fox Farms Ocean Forest base, and then I add pumice, and I add orchid bark, and I add pumice, orchid bark, and a little bit of horticulture charcoal I add to that. And I have already filled my little planters here. So there are 11, I'm going to be making 11 propagations from this plant right here. And that's because I counted up the space in my grow tent of how many, on my Linearis tray, how many spaces I have, how many propagations I can make, and I can do 11. So yeah, so those are pre-done. And so let's get started. So here's my plant right here. So this plant sits on the what do you call it? Nightstand, the nightstand next to my bed. And so when it gets to the point that it is touching the ground, that's when I like to start chopping at it, because my fear is I'm going to be vacuuming and I'm going to suck up one of these. And I have this awful thought in my head of this plant just like getting sucked up into the vacuum, and the whole thing just, you know how like little strings and stuff just get wound around the bar in your vacuum. I just have like these cringy thoughts of that happening with this plant. So anyway, I like to start chopping when it hits the floor, and it is at that point again. So, you know, before I start chopping at it, I just want to point out, so I told you I would give you some care tips on this plant. So let's start with watering, because the interesting thing about the Hoya Linearis is that it will tell you, it's one of those plants that will tell you when it needs water. And the way to tell is, you see you see these leaves on this. See how they're standing out like this? They're like this. See that? This is a fully watered, nicely hydrated plant currently. When this one is ready for water again, those leaves that are like this right now, they'll go like this. They will droop. The plant will droop. And that is when you know for sure the plant needs water. And so they're pretty far apart currently. So I don't wait for it to be like completely drooped before I plant it. I know what it looks like when it's nicely fully watered. If I see it just starting to get a little bit like this, I water this plant. So I think this is, in my opinion, a thirstier Hoya. This one does enjoy the water. So in my environment, so keep in mind everybody's home environment is different. And I live in Colorado. It is very dry here. So inside my house, it's a little bit dry. And so I might, compared to someone who lives in Florida, I probably have to water more often some of my plants. So even though I am watering once a week for the Hoya Linearis, someone in Florida could probably go 2 weeks. So yeah, just keep in mind that your climate can make a difference when I'm giving you, like telling you things I do. So yeah, watering once a week for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna chop this. Let me show you where I'm gonna make a cut. So the plant, okay, the plant is growing down. It's a trailing. This is one of those Hoyas that you don't put this on a trellis. I don't know that I've ever seen a Hoya Linearis on a trellis. I imagine it can be done, but it is just more beautiful as a trailing or as a dangling, hanging plant. So even though this is facing down, it's growing down, this is up on this plant. So new growth is coming out of the top. That's where the new growth is coming out from. So when I make a cut, this is a little bit difficult. Okay, here, set this down here. When I make a cut, I want to make sure that I have a pretty substantial stem here, because this is the part here, this here, between here and here, between the node here, the node is at the leaves, between here, between this node and this node, I'm going to make my cut, because this part is going to be what's going into the soil, and this stem here is where your roots are going to come out of. So let me just make my first cut. And actually I'm going to cut really close to this node here, because what is left of this stem between this node here, that's going to die off. That part is going to die off. So I might as well just cut it as close as I can to those leaves, like that. Okay, that's our first cut. So actually this is way more stem than I need. And you can see something interesting about Hoyas is they do, when you cut them, they do release some sap. So anyway, I don't need all of this. I don't need all of this for my, I don't need it. So I'm going to just make it a little bit shorter. And that is my first propagation right there. This part here will go into the soil. So I have a lot of those to do. So each of my little pots that I make, here's my little, these are my little 3-inch pots here. I'll probably put like 6 or 7 of these in here. And that should give me a really nice full pot in a few weeks. Yeah, because yeah, they will grow. And so now if you are propagating, I am propagating for my store. So I need to fill 11 pots here. So I need to maximize my propagating. So if you were just doing this for yourself, if you were propagating just to make your current plant more full, you could, you could give yourself a really long, like, stem to start with, whereas I start small. You could, oh, that's so hard. It's so hard to explain, but hopefully this is making sense. But you could start with a long stem like this, whereas because I have to fill 11 pots, I am starting very small. So this is actually bigger than what I usually do. What I typically do, so this is where we made our last cut, and I'm sorry it's so far away, but this is one camera we're working with, and this is how it's going to be. So hopefully you can see this. This is typically what my propagations look like. It's just one node and 2 leaves. So I make a bunch of these because this is like, I guess what you would like call your top cut, because this is a growth point right here. This is growing. This is going to grow faster than this, because this one now, it needs to put out a whole new growth point. Like between the leaf and the node here, whole new stem is going to start popping out of there. Hopefully that makes sense. This is already, it doesn't have to make a new growth point. That growth point is right here. New leaves come out right here. New leaves will have to come out of a new stem on this one. Does that make sense? I really, really hope so. Okay, so another thing that I didn't mention was that I am propagating into soil. That is not the only way you can do this. You can propagate into, you could do, and I'm gonna work as I talk, so, because I've got a lot of pieces to cut here. And like I said, I'm gonna do like 6 or 7 per pot. Okay, so I'm doing soil, but you could use sphagnum moss. Sphagnum moss is a great option for these. You could do right into water. In which case, if you do, if you are planning to propagate into water, and if you're doing it for your shop, I don't recommend that. But if you're doing it for yourself, like I said, you can cut yourself a longer stem for yourself, and then I would just remove some extra leaves, and that way you can like easily prop it up in a vessel of water. Hopefully that makes sense. So the reason I like to do soil, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I've got 6. The reason I like to do soil is because my propagations go right into a grow tent, and the grow tent it's warm, the grow tent is humid, and the grow tent has really nice lighting, and plants grow so easily in that grow tent. If I were doing this, and if I were leaving this after filling my cups of soil, and I were just leaving it out in ambient room conditions, I don't think I would have as much success, just because it's not warm and it's not humid. And so yeah, if you have a warm, humid, bright location, then I highly recommend just potting it right into soil. And then of course you can also, if maybe you're into using pond, semi-hydro, you can also put these cuttings right into semi-hydro, and it's Yeah, it's the same thing as, it's the same process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah. So what else can we talk about with this? Fertilizing, just like any Hoya, you're going to, you can fertilize like in the summertime. I fertilize every 2 weeks. In the wintertime, I drop it back to like once a month, if that. Now the plants in my grow tent, they're like constantly growing, so I just continue my fertilizing schedule even through the winter. Sorry, it's hard to talk and propagate at the same time. I am not that talented, I guess. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I currently have enough for 4 pots. So we're going to keep going. Okay, so we talked about watering. We talked about fertilizing, lighting. Like most Hoyas, bright indirect lighting is great for these guys. The one plant here hangs in a northeast facing window and does great in that window. My other one in my bedroom sits on a nightstand, and it's not really very near a window. The window it is kind of near is a southeast facing window, but then it also, there are grow lights very near the plant, like not right above the plant, but very near the plant, and it does well. So it doesn't need like super intense lighting in my experience, but some nice bright indirect light works well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more. There's 6. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pots. So as we're doing our propagating here, as we're cutting, it is giving these stems that produce that sap, it gives them time to dry out before I actually put them into their pots. So basically it's like letting those fresh cuts callus just to give us a better chance for these propagations to be successful. And I have a pretty good success rate with the Hoya Linearis. Very rarely do I have a cut that doesn't take. Yeah, okay, 5, one more. And all right, let's talk about pests, because that was one of the big things that someone requested. We talk about pest treatments for this plant. And I personally have not run into any issues with pests on this one. Thank goodness. But it does happen, and I think most of the time what people are dealing with would be mealybugs or spider mites. And I would treat mine the same for whatever pests. I would do the same thing. So the main thing in my experience of dealing with pests on plants, not only do you need to treat with some pesticide, or if you don't do pesticide, like a do-it-yourself spray, like typically like a do-it-yourself one would include rubbing alcohol peroxide, some Castile soap, and yeah, those ingredients. So in addition, you have to do that, spray it with something, even if it's just water. You need to spray it get those bugs off of the plant. But you also, you have to change the soil. Or whatever growing medium you are using, you need to completely get rid of it, start over. That's how I've had the best luck in getting rid of pests, is because they do hang out. If it's not the eggs, it's the actual bug. They do hang out in the soil. So you just naturally, it just makes sense. You have to, even though it is a huge pain in the rear to do it, you have to change the soil. You just have to repot the plant. So now I'm going to put on the screen my new favorite pesticide. And this one, the reason I like it so much, well, it works for one. It's like a miracle. It works. But it's also considered like for organic gardening, because pesticides kind of scare me. For my health, you know, I want to be mindful of my health when I'm doing in this hobby, because you have, be careful with some of the insecticides you guys are using, because, you know, and they will have warnings on the labels. Even the organic stuff, you know, they tell you to be careful. Let me see, wait. Before we go on, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have enough for one more. And I might have cut myself too much here, but that's okay. Just be careful. Just be careful. I mean, I watch videos sometimes and I see people spraying their plants and they're like touching with bare hands, touching the pesticide. And it just makes me cringe. Just like, no, 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 no. So even though this spray stuff I use, even though it is considered for organic gardening and considered safer, I still feel like I'm still extra careful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still extra careful. So we if you're having a pest issue, you change the soil. Spray your plants. Even if it's just plain water, get those bugs off of the plant. And depending on the pest, some treatments you have to do, like several treatments. So like, for instance, like for thrips, you're going to do a treatment. You're going to wait 3 days. You're going to do another treatment. You're going to wait 3 days. And then you do another treatment. You do 3 treatments. That's for like thrips. For spider mites are so much easier to get rid of. Yeah, you don't have to do like so many treatments. Like my Hoya Brahmanica up above me here, that one came down with spider mites and it was so easy to get rid of. I changed the soil, I repotted that plant and sprayed it, and yeah, no issue with that. So, yeah. Thrips are a little bit more work. Spider mites are easy. Mealybugs, it's kind of the same as with spider mites. Change the soil and spray the plant. And rubbing alcohol works really well on those. And yeah, so what else? So we talked about watering, we talked about lighting, we talked about fertilizing, and we talked about pests. Is that everything? Isn't that everything? I think that is. Humidity. Well, humidity, we kind of touched on that. My Hoya Linearis live in ambient conditions, and my house is not very humid, and they do just fine. So ambient conditions are perfectly fine for the Hoya Linearis. If you are propagating like weird, these are all my little piles here. We're just kind of letting their cuts dry out a little bit here. Let them dry out. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. By the way, my last video was, my last video was a plant shop update. So I did do a weekly update. This video comes out on Sunday. My shop update happened on Friday. So if you're looking to buy plants, check out my plant shop. But the video before the plant shop update, I did a houseplant tour. And I mentioned in that video that I was going to be downsizing some of the plants in my collection, plants that I don't propagate for my shop. Yeah, I'm just trying to make life kind of easier for myself by getting rid of some duplicates or just plants I don't really need. Plants I could, even though I love them, I could easily remove to make life easier, because I am super busy with my shop, very busy with my shop. Like here we're making 11 new plants. These are going to be filled, 11 new plants added to so I'm getting rid of some, but I'm making 11 new plants. I love to propagate, by the way. Anyway, yeah, my life is very full and busy with my plant shop, so I'm just trying to make things easier for myself. But anyway, the reason I brought it up is because I am so enjoying my plant collection right now, just because I did downsize and it's just made life so much easier. By the way, I'm fanning my plants. Fanning the plants, trying to help them to dry out, which they dry out pretty quickly. Yeah, they're already pretty tacky. Like the sap on the ends dries up and kind of like seals that cut. Yeah, I didn't want you to think something else happened here. Okay, so I brought you in a bit closer so you can actually see the process of making these brand new pots here. So no head, but this is what's important here. So these have nicely calloused and they are ready to be put into the pot. So I do like to use a rooting hormone on this stuff, and it's just to possibly help those roots to form more quickly, more successfully, and I just dip it right in to that rooting hormone, and then I just push it. Sorry, my hand was in the way, I'm sure. I'll pull it out. I just push it right into the soil, like that. And I do that for however many cuts I have. In this case, about six cuts per plant. Just start filling it in. And then when I'm done with that, I water the plant. After I get done making all these pots, I will take this to the sink and I will water them thoroughly, and then they go to the grow tent. So that is the process. Pretty fast, pretty easy. Sometimes I hit a pumice rock in there and I get a little resistance, but that is a pot. That is a new plant. This is going to be a new plant. So it'll take several weeks for the new growth to start popping out and for the roots. And I like to use these clear plastic containers so I can actually see the roots. I can see the roots in the pot, and that will be a nice full plant that I can send out to you guys. Okay, since you saw the process, now I can just quickly move through, and if you have any questions at all about anything I've done, maybe I didn't explain something very well, let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer that for you. So, it's a pretty easy process. And I think the key for, at least for this method, with like going directly into soil, the key, as I said, is you need humidity, you need warmth, and you need brightness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't want that to topple over. Once you have done this, once your plants are done, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one more. Once you're done, you got this process down, you've made your new plant, you've watered your plant, you take it to wherever location. If you don't have a grow tent, maybe you can use, like, for instance, what I did before I had a grow tent, I used this. One of these. Oops. Currently I have African violets in these, but this is just like a humidity dome, and you can easily, this is like perfect. Like this is just like a little greenhouse. And pick that up. You could put them into something like that. If you don't have that, I'm sure in your pantry or wherever you keep your plastic Ziploc bags, you could totally do this and stick it into a Ziploc bag. So for instance, I actually have some Ziploc bags right here for my shop, my eBay shop. When I hang on here, I need a small bag. I have a couple different size bags, but for my eBay shop, when I sell clothing, I put them into little bags. So you could easily use a Ziploc bag like this. Let's move that out of the way. So when you're done, you can set your new plant into a Ziploc container like this, and this will hold the humidity for you. You still will need to put it into a bright location, and preferably a warm location. The warmth, like you can use those seed mats that actually, it's like a heating pad. It will heat up just enough, and the warmth makes those roots grow. So this is an option. If you don't have a grow tent, and you still want to propagate right into soil, if soil is your medium of choice, yeah, you could do, those are some possible ways that you can get those plants growing for you. Another thing I really like about doing this process is it's actually quite a relaxing thing to do. It's not like a hectic thing. Like for me, repotting plants is not a relaxing thing, but making like propagations like this is just, it's enjoyable. Plus, knowing the fact that I'm creating like a whole new plant is fun. It's like creating new life. Like it's hard to believe that, like from this one plant here, we're creating 11 new plants. I mean, how cool is that? That is just so cool. I love it. So I have actually made, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I have made a video similar to this before. And I'm curious if you saw that video and it was several months ago. It may have even been last year that I did it. I'm curious if any of you tried that method, this method, and if you had success with it. So let me know in the comments if it worked for you, and or if you tried a different method, what you did and how it worked out for you. All right, so I completed 11 new pots of Hoya Linearis. So I'm going to take these to the sink and I'm going to water them and thoroughly get this whole pot, all the pots thoroughly wet, thoroughly soaked, and then they will go into the grow tent. I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but a key to success doing this is to don't let that soil dry out. Like for the next 3 weeks, we're never going to let that soil dry out. You need to keep that soil moist, and that is what will encourage those roots to grow. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty simple, right? So again, if you have any questions, if I forgot to mention anything, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I can get those answers for you. Look how so much shorter now. It's kind of like my hair. We both got a haircut. We both recently got haircuts. Thanks for all the compliments on my hair too. Yeah, thanks you guys. I really enjoy this haircut. I really do. It is, it's just so easy. It's just so easy. And some of you said it makes me look younger. It makes me look younger. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, so that is going to be it for this video. Should we play a what's your favorite? We haven't done that in a really long time. Let's play a what's your favorite. And we're going to do trailing plants, because that's what I have. But what trailing plant? We'll do a Hoya Linearis. Let's do a Hoya Linearis and a, hopefully it's not attached. A little bit attached over here. Let's do a Hoya Linearis. Hang on one second. I got to unattach. This one is attached to the Hoya Curtisii. Okay, here we go. Let's play what is your favorite? What do you prefer? So if you don't know, and I haven't done this in a really long time, I will take 2 plants and I will show you 2 plants, and I will ask you to tell me in the comments if you want. You don't have to. It's just a little interactive thing we can do together, because it gets a little bit boring with just me talking to you guys all the time. And this makes it so some of you will go to the comments and we can talk back and forth, and you can tell me, which do you prefer? Which is your favorite? Do you prefer the looks of the Hoya Linearis, or do you enjoy the string of hearts? Now this is a combination pot, so there is some Silver Glory in this pot, and then also just your regular variegated string of hearts. Which of these do you prefer? Which is your favorite? So let me know in the comments, and I will let you know in the next video which one got the most votes. And hopefully you'll enjoy playing this little game. Just a little game we play just for fun. So yeah. So that's going to be it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me here today. Again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and hopefully I can answer them for you. And yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.